come on ladies and gentlemen, gather round the main arena for this special celebration Grand Parade. This is the 25th Cromford Steam Rally. It's been going 25 years, this is the 25th rally. Lots of rallies have been celebrating anniversaries these last couple of years. So this for Cromford is their 25th. We've got lots and lots of special things lined up for this weekend. It's going to be a real party atmosphere, the weather's been kind to us. We've got lots of special events lined up. We do hope you'll join in with us in the party atmosphere and the fun. And welcome ladies and gentlemen on your various vehicles. It's so nice to see you here as representatives of the various classes that you represent. We've got the representatives of the steam. I heard them coming in the arena with their hooters blowing. It's always great to hear that. We've got the miniature steam. We've got the motorcyclist. We've got George there, who himself has been on the rally scene many years with his motorcycle and motor scooter. We've got the vintage motor vehicles, the commercials coming up here, the Dennis there and the Albion. And we've got a range of tractors, the Field Marshal tractor and the David Brown tractor, followed on by two wonderful motor vehicles. The small German vehicle there, I think it's probably a BMW or an Azetta, I'm not too sure from where the commentary box position, but a very small popular car in its time, and then something a little bit more grander there, following up the rear. But a good cross-section of representatives for all the vehicles that you're going to see here at Cromford today. Cromford's renowned for the original or something that's extremely rare, and this year is going to be no exception. 25 years of excellence in the steam rally circuit, well known throughout the country, Cromford Steam Rally, whether it be on the meadows or on this new wonderful site. We still call it new, I think we've been here 6 years, we still call it the new site, but nevertheless, join us at the ring for this wonderful occasion.
On the first weekend in August, 25 years ago, a small group of enthusiasts gathered in the historic village of Cromford to enjoy, together, their veteran machines lovingly preserved or restored. They probably had no idea that their little gathering would grow into one of the great annual events in the North Midlands, the Cromford Steam Rally. Within a couple of years of that modest beginning, the gathering grew to a much larger celebration of a bygone age. As well as the steam engines, always the main attraction, old cars and lorries joined in. Tractor enthusiasts added a specially fine array of farming vehicles. Stationary engines, motorcycles, rural crafts, models and miniature steam engines added extra dimensions. Soon thousands of people were coming from far and wide to enjoy this unique panorama of nostalgia and entertainment that the Cromford Steam Rally provided. We estimate that in the intervening years something like 500,000 people have passed through the gates of the rally field. Every one of those visited helped, by means of their entrance tickets, to raise the many thousands of pounds that the rally contributes to charities and good causes. Literally hundreds of organisations have benefited over the years, both large and small. All were, and are, important contributions in their own way. From major items like scanner units for hospitals in the regions, and the BBC's Children in Need appeal, to more modest funds for local scouts and sports clubs, not forgetting outings for local senior citizens. All are very important to the people concerned. That is the secret of the Steam Rally. From the characters who organise and support the event on the field, to those who benefit from the funds generated year by year, the Steam Rally is about people. A few years ago, the rally was obliged to vacate its traditional site in the village to its new, larger site a couple of miles away, but we were glad to report that its popularity remained as great as before, perhaps even greater. This weekend, a quarter of a century after the modest first gathering, many things have changed, not least the cost and difficulty of restoring and preserving the ancient machines at the heart of our rally. Yet the number and quality of rally exhibits are greater than ever before. 1995, Cromford Steam Rally's 25th anniversary year, again sees a good turnout in the engine section. Many of the favourites of the past years are here with new entries too. We are privileged this year to see Kitchener, better known of course as the Iron Maiden. Built by Fowler in 1920, toured the fairground with the Audley family of Alfreton, before starring in the British film The Iron Maiden in 1963. Today, it is probably the best known engine in all the world. Look out for the famous inscription, mighty in strength and endurance. Many thanks to the Marchington family for bringing her along. Another interesting exhibit for the year's rally is Dave Maris and family's newly acquired but yet unrestored 1908 Fowler traction engine. Exported to Australia in 1910 where it worked in the eucalyptus oil industry. Obviously presenting the engine as the paintwork can still be seen if you take a close look. It is believed to have burnt wool amongst other things. The engine arrived back in England on Good Friday this year, and thanks to the Maris family for bringing it along, with Bertha, of course.
There we are, ladies and gentlemen.
Just as the demands of the First World War robbed the farms of their horses and men, and obliged farmers to look to barn engines for power, so the same series of events ushered in the farm tractor. Even in the broad farmlands of America, the farm tractor was still a very primitive device up to the period of the war. Such tractors as there were consisted of little more than a crude iron-wheeled chassis onto which a barn engine was fastened, with chain to drive the wheels. Once a wide demand opened up, however, development was rapid indeed. From the crude, unwieldy monsters of 1912 to 1915, it was but a short step in time to the efficient, easy-to-drive tractors that were the direct ancestors of today's machines. It was in 1917 that the first truly modern tractor design appeared, and once again it was Henry Ford who brought it into the world. The F-type Fordson revolutionized farming and had countless imitators. Possibly the only step of equal magnitude in its importance to the industry was the advent of power farming and the Ferguson system some 2 decades later. Both these gigantic steps forward are illustrated by the tractors of Cromford, as well as the many other stages in between. Many of the historic tractors on the show have a profound effect on farming. Others came and went unnoticed. Cromford's display shows the good and bad all over those years, and illustrates how the compact and convenient paraffin tractor steadily replaced the horse and then the steam traction engine on the land. To fully appreciate the beauty of these machines and the enthusiasm of all the exhibitors, spend a day at the next Cromford Steam Rally.
Well, when we first started, a man named Cecil Howard was a gentleman. We used to go to rallies at Rempston, Kegworth, that area, and Jack Beebe, we got talking to him and said how would it be to start a rally in Cromford. He advised us, and Mr. Howard decided we were going to have one, but we was then called the Arkwright Rally, which we did for the Arkwright Society. But unfortunately, the Arkwright took the money, and we'd nothing to start with again. So eventually we broke away from them, started on our own, 5 of us, started the Cromford Steam Rally, which the first one we had 7 engines. I think we had 1 car, a few motorbikes and a few barn engines, stalls, etc. But in Cromford Meadows was one of the finest settings that you could have for a steam rally. In the valley, the smoke used to go up and it was beautiful. And from then we went from strength to strength. Eventually Mr. Howard got a beautiful engine. He had a small engine called the Lion to start with, and then he bought a showman's engine, did that up, and he eventually hadn't got the time to carry on with the rally. So I took over from Mr. Howard, and which he taught me all I know, and I took over, and I've been really one of the head men up, from the start like. But we've had some good people on our committees. We've had our ups and downs. Many a time I've threatened to pack it up, but I never have, because I enjoy doing it. And it's built up strength to strength, and now Cromford Meadows, everybody keeps saying, when are you going back to Cromford Meadows? But it's too big. When we first started, caravans were unheard of. Everybody had small tents, under the sheets, anything to have a sleep. Now, we've got 26, 30 engines coming here, which is a good show for a small place. We've got some good organs, 80 barn engines, a good show. And of course I like the horses, a pair of horses, I like horses, and something different. When we lost Cromford, it was because they were going to do some work on the ground, that's what they told us. We lost the rally for 1 year, but we had a small gathering in Cromford Marketplace to keep it going. And then one night, my wife and myself was driving past Mr. Abbott's, which I've known Mr. Abbott a long time. We called in his yard and he said, I know what you've come for, Cromford Steam Rally. I said, you're right first time. And we had a look round the fields and we agreed that we'd have a look at it, and we've been here since. And he's very good to us, very good. And of course, I don't do the engines now, I used to do the steamers, and the gentleman that does it now, he asked him if he'd like to come, and agreed, and they've come, and it was nice to see the Iron Maiden here. Yeah, it's a legend really, the Iron Maiden is. A lot of people have seen it on film, and and it is a bit of an attraction really. Well, fortunately, we seem to get the crowds, and we're managing to get enough money to keep running it, because a lot of people don't realise how much money it costs us to run a rally. I think there's no way could you run a rally if we hadn't people that come here and do it for nothing. In fact, it costs us people money to come and help with this rally, but they're enthusiasts, and if they didn't want to come, they wouldn't come. They enjoy it. I enjoy it. I look forward to it every year. But as I say, it's a good family event. You have the stall for the wife, and the little fairground for the children, and the old man likes to look at the engines. I think it's good value for what we charge.
Have you, mate? Are you ready? Now,
Ted Ridley of the Midland Falconry, Hege, has kept birds of prey for the last 21 years, a hobby which gradually took over his life until 1988, when he decided to make it falconry his profession. He keeps approximately 40 birds of prey, eagles, hawks, falcons and owls. Some are flown each day to keep them in trim for hunting and displays. Many more are in breeding aviaries. Throughout the summer, Ted takes his birds to local shows and schools to do displays. He shows people the birds they don't normally see, like the peregrine, the African tawny eagle and the alphanet lanner. The money he earns helps to fund Midlands Falconry's breeding programme. Many British birds of prey became endangered species over the last century due to chemical pollutants, but now they are fighting back with the help of people like Ted. I eventually want to breed all Britain's birds of prey, because if they disappear, they are gone forever, said Ted. The barn owl is one species that has declined drastically, and according to the British Trust for Ornithology, there are only 3,500 to 4,000 pairs left in Britain today. But there are now many release schemes being operated by responsible and caring people throughout the country. Ted breeds owls and releases them into the wild with the cooperation of the Derbyshire farmers and other country residents. He also offers a rescue service for escaped captive or injured birds of prey. He feels most strongly that people should learn all they can about the rich heritage of the countryside and wildlife. He visits schools and youth groups throughout the year with his birds. These visits enable children to see and touch birds they might only have seen in pictures.
Let him catch it, Stuart. He's off birching, all right.
A fairground organ, in essence, was the form of musical entertainment in major fairground rides from about 1875 to about 1950, perhaps 58, 59, around that last time the ones were used in everyday use. But having said that, there are still one or two traditional rides about that have got organs in. There are certain people in the fairground industry that have persevered with the old fairground organ at a time when everybody just laughed at them, when they're all going onto record players and things like that. And if it wasn't for those people, these things wouldn't be here now. Because they are mechanical and there's a lot of work in them, the cost of overhauling these things is prohibitive when you can go out and buy a record to do basically the same job, although it never will be the same job because it's got a totally different sound. And this is what the fairground people came to the conclusion. They thought, well, we might as well go and buy a panatrope and get rid of the old organ, because although some of the organs had a working life of about 30 years, it was expensive to repair. The way that it works is you have a music book, which is this, made out of cardboard and cut in such a way as to fold up, concertina together. The holes and the slots in the book match up with a key in this frame here, which tells a pipe or a rank of pipes to play, and that's how the music is produced. Each one of these needles here represents a note or a rank of pipes or a register, which tells the mechanism to play that particular pipe or mechanism. This down here is the reservoir. Traditionally, reservoirs, all it is basically, it's like an old blacksmith's bella. The air is pumped into it and the reservoir takes out the fluctuations in the air that's being delivered to keep a constant pressure at the pipes. This rank of pipes on the back here is clarinets, represents clarinets. It's brass and it's worked on reeds. The ones behind it are flue pipes. There's big bass pipes in the top, and violin pipes, and there's everything in here. Every different type of pipe represents a different instrument in a band. So as I say, this particular organ, being an 89 key organ, is supposed to recreate a military brass band.
It's really a very small aircraft. It's only 17 foot 4 wingspan and 16 foot 6 inches long, but it is a very successful aircraft as a sports aeroplane and an aerobatic competition and display aircraft. The main structure is a welded light whale steel tube, and it has additional alloy, wood and fabric parts of the structure. It's quite a complicated structure. Most of them were built by individuals in their home garages and things like that, although there are some pit specials that were built in a limited base in a factory in the United States. This particular one was built in Letchworth in Hertfordshire. Aircraft virtually stationary at the top, then it goes over on its back into another vertical dive. You'll be pulling something like 4 or 5 G there when he pulls out of that climb, which means that the body in effect weighs 4 times its normal weight. Another inverted roll off the top of the climb, straight down.
The popularity of the vintage and veteran motorcycle is self-evident. In their times they were relatively inexpensive to purchase, fairly easy to maintain, readily available and most of all exciting to ride. The history of the British motorcycle is very rich indeed, with a few exceptions. The most important names in the history of the motorcycle are British Triumph, Norton, BSA, Royal Enfield Vincent, Velocette, Scott, Matchless Rudge and Sunbeam, all instantly recognisable names of distinction. Many of these makes are bought by their owners to rally each year. The motorcycle section at the Cromford Steam Rally is probably the smallest section. However, between 40 and 50 enthusiasts bring their machines.
We have a string of MGs coming.
There are a wide range of cars on display here at Cromford, ranging from vintage and pre-war to post-war and classic. Some of these cars are very rare, whereas others may seem much more common, but all are of special interest to someone. When at rallies, exhibitors will be more than happy to talk about their cars. You may have special memories or information about a particular make of car which might be of interest to the owners. We hope you enjoy looking at all the different cars on display, some of which may still be undergoing running restoration to return them to their former glory.
Followed then by an MGBGT, which is 1969.
The first steam road wagons were less than 10 years old when JFS Morgan built his first motor vehicle. Members of the Morgan Car Club have brought a selection of cars to Cromford, from the golden days of three-wheelers to the newer four-wheelers.
Metal bumpers, but it's talked about whether or not the chrome bumper is better than the
British road transport has changed considerably over the last 50 years. The end of the Second World War saw the roads of Great Britain starved of new vehicles, and so transport operators were forced into using lorries and vans that would normally have been scrapped and replaced. I suppose it was a great tribute to British engineering that many of them continued to give good service, although most of them past their prime. It was not long before new designs began to appear as motor vehicle manufacturers were again able to turn out their normal product. Vehicles become larger and more powerful and more refined, as did the provision for drivers' comfort. During the 50 years, many famous British manufacturers have disappeared, namely Albion, AEC, Scammell, Thornycroft, etc., to name but a few. Some have kept their names, but their products are indistinguishable from others. Nationalisation of the industry in 1947 saw the end of many operators and some distinctive liveries. Were it not for the vintage commercial vehicle enthusiast of today, we would not have the lineup we have here at Cromford, where everyone can say they don't make them like they used to. It is an undeniable fact that war achieved remarkably rapid development of military machines of all types. The greatest example was seen in the Second World War, which began with biplanes like the Gladiators and Swordfish in the frontline services, and ended a mere 6 years later with jet fighters. Equally, rapid development can be seen in military vehicles. The First World War began with cumbersome steam artillery tractors, for example, and large numbers of horses, and ended 4 years later with surprisingly efficient and reliable petrol-engined lorries and gun tractors. The theme continued in the Second World War, particularly in the development of all-wheel drive trucks, light armoured vehicles and all kinds of specialist designs to keep armies mobile. The presence of military vehicles at Cromford Rally is, consequently, fully justified. The fascination of these army green or camouflage vehicles ranges from pure nostalgia on the part of those who spend time in the armoured services. The military display at Cromford is, therefore, something not to be overlooked.
Another GMC here, this time with the in the 1944.
Black with a white muslin blaze, a white cross on the chest, and white tips to the tail and paws. Between the black and white on the legs and cheeks is a rich chestnut or tan. The markings should be as symmetrical as possible and not haphazard as in some other tricolour breeds. They're excellent companion dogs, are good with children, and make good travellers as they usually enjoy the car.
Well, it's so pleasing as I look around the rally to see so many people enjoying themselves. After all this hard work this committee of ours have put in, it's taken 12 months to stage it. Such a lot of arguments and disagreements around the committee tables, of which we've had committee meetings every 2 weeks. But I'm so pleased to think everything's running so sweet as it is. The committee are overjoyed with all the happenings that are going and the comments they're getting from all these exhibitors that are enjoying themselves. I think this year the weather's been very, very kind to us too. The people are rolling in. The third car park field, which has never been known before, is starting to fill up. Only 2 or 3 hours ago we had to move the helicopter from one field to the other to get all the additional caravans which have come along with the exhibits to squeeze in. We've had a lot of little problems on the site itself. We've had to move stuff at the last minute round. But looking round, everyone's enjoying themselves so much, and it's such a beautiful rally. But at this point I would like to say what a wonderful committee I have in front of me, which have helped. The exhibitors are wonderful people, and the public are pouring in to help us to celebrate our 25th anniversary. And it's so pleasing after all this hard work we've put through. It is such a well-known rally up in this area now. It's getting to be known as one of the strongest up in the northern parts of it. You all know of the Great Dorset one. Who knows, one year it probably will be as big up in this area, we don't know. Well, this has been the 25th anniversary of the Cromford Steam Rally. It's been running for 25 years, very strongly. It's getting stronger each year. Let's hope that we can make the 50th. I can't see any reason why not. God knows what size it'll be by then. Since we left the Cromford Meadows and had to come up onto the Mr. Habit site here at Brackenfield, it's just grown from strength to strength. People do say, why don't you take it back down to the Meadows, because that was a beautiful setting for it and that's where it originally started. But I'm afraid now, if you look at it, it's just too large. It's growing from strength to strength every year. This year, for instance, we've had to open another 2 fields up. There are more fields up here, which Mr. Habit and also his neighbours do own, which we have a very good relationship, and I can't foresee why we should not go on to make the next anniversary. Well, I hope that everybody that's come along to our 25th event has enjoyed themselves, and anyone who wishes to come along to the further ones or to enter them, if they'd look at the end of the videotape, they will find a contact address and telephone number which they can contact at any stage regarding the next year's event.